How long is it? Yeah, I guess so.
It's only one discussion.
Oh, okay. But it's not that difficult.
The thing that I messaged you about the formula, I don't know how to do it with 2 points, but for some reason I do get the same answer like how you did it. But I get this answer by just dividing this by that. Yeah, so that's what we do it. But to find this, but I couldn't plug it into this. Like I know how to do it step by step.
This number is only the price and quantity. So 7 and 6. That's the other 2.
That's price 1 and price 2, right?
And then it'll be Q1, Q2. Okay. So use this 4 numbers here.
It's just do step by step. Don't plug it in.
Don't plug it all together. Just that.
Okay. As long as I get greater than 1, less than 1, or equal 1, I'm good, right?
Sometimes you might see the numbers on the quiz, on the test. I'll see which number. All right, guys, let's get started. We'll cover chapter 5 and 6 today. So chapter 5 is called elasticity. Now, guys, what does elastic mean to you? When you hear elastic, what does it mean to you?
Flexibility.
Stretching, right? How flexible, how stretchy you are. So elasticity is the measurement of how stretchy or how flexible or how responsive our consumers or producers are to any type of change in the economy. So it measures our responsiveness to price or any other change in the economy. What is that? Yeah. I know it's talking about open coffee.
It tastes like Vietnamese coffee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How much do you for it?
Like 3 something.
3 something. All right. So it's the same coffee for $6. Would you still buy it?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. What about $10?
Maybe it's too high.
Too much, right? So when the price goes to $10, we change our behavior. Now this change in behavior is called elasticity. So every time This measures how much our consumer will respond when anything changes in the economy. Now, we're going to study 3 types of elasticity. We're going to study the price elasticity, we're going to study the income elasticity, and also going to study something called a cross-price elasticity. So I'll show you each one. Okay. So first, let's look at our price elasticity for demand. So price elasticity for demand, it measures how much our quantity demanded will change when the price change. So exactly just like how Oscar, when the price change, would you still buy it? So if you buy more or less, that is called the elasticity for demand. Now, it's a very simple formula. We're going to use our percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in price. And that will give you the elasticity for demand. So the price elasticity for demand. The percentage change in quantity divided by the percentage change in price. And guys, by the way, your test is next week. And many of you have been emailing me asking me where the test is. So it's not active yet. So if you go online, you won't even see it. If you see it, if you click on it, there's nothing there. Okay. So the test will be active Monday morning next week. So from Monday morning next week, for the entire week until Sunday night, you can work on the test. And also remember for the test, you have 2 tries online, and then you can also try in person. So for the in-person test will be Tuesday at this time in this room. Okay? So over here, come here, ready for the test. We're not going to have any lectures next week. It's only test in person. And also remember for this Thursday, we have an extra credit opportunity. It will be 5 points on your test. So this Thursday, it will be at the North Harris campus over here in the academic building. So this building, we're in room 130, but the extra credit opportunity will be room 126. So just down the hallway. So same building, 126, from 1 to 2 o'clock. So there will be we'll have a guest speaker on campus, and they will talk about the cost of our last recession. So I need you guys, if you want to earn the extra points, so come early, and then before the lecture started, what I want you to do, I want you to take a selfie. When you take a selfie, yeah, take a selfie. Because otherwise, I don't know you're here. So what I want you to do, take a selfie. Now, this is how you take a selfie. Now, normally, you guys take a selfie like this, right? So for the extra credit opportunity, what I want you to do, once you're sitting down in your seat, I want you to turn your back to the speaker and then take a selfie like this. So when you take a selfie, that you're in the picture, the speaker in the picture. Okay. So once you get a selfie, email it to me. I'll add the 5 points on your test. Make sense? All right. So let's go back here. So our elasticity for demand, the price elasticity for demand. Let me write down the formula. So elasticity for demand is equal to the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. Now the triangle is called delta. It stands for change. Okay. So how much percentage our quantity changes divided by how much percentage our price change, and that is your elasticity for demand. And then to find your percentage change formula, the percentage change, we use our new number minus the old number divided by the old number. That'll be your percentage change. So the new number minus the old number divided by the old number, and that will give you your percentage change. Percentage change is your new number minus the old number divided by the old number. That will be your percentage change. And then we're going to do the same formula for many of the future calculations. So when we're doing calculation on unemployment rate, when we're doing the calculation on inflation, we're going to use this new minus old divided by old. Make sense? Yeah. All right. Let's look at the problem. So for this problem, let's suppose our quantity change, the quantity change is 15%. Our price change is 10%. How much is the elasticity for this problem? So the quantity change is 15%. The price change is 10%. How much is our elasticity for demand? Let's get 25. We'll add it together, use the formula. Right, so we're gonna use the percentage change in quantity, which is the 15%, divided by the percentage change in price, which is 10%. So how much is our elasticity for demand? You know, I took serious Spanish in high school. I don't know anything. But I do remember calculators. Calculadora. Yeah, calculadora. So what's the elasticity for demand? 1.5, right? Because now the quantity change is already given to you, right? You already have the quantity change, it's 15%. The price change is 10%. So applying the formula on top, so the 15% on top, 10% on the bottom, so 15 over 10 is 1.5. Make sense? Now, for this 1.5, is it positive or negative? Positive or negative 1.5? No, just for the elasticity for demand. Why positive? Well, let's take a look. Let's take a look. All right, so elasticity for demand, we're going to do the quantity change on top, and the quantity change says it go down by 15%, right? So it will be a negative 15%, and then divided by the price change, which go up by 10%. That's a positive 10%. So negative 15 divided by positive 10. Is my answer positive or negative? Negative. It's a negative 1.5, right? So guys, here's the thing. For the price elasticity for demand. So for this measurement over here, for the price elasticity for demand is always negative. Why is that? Why is elasticity for demand always negative? Yeah, but why? We're looking for something. It's a term you learned in chapter 4.
Oh,
It's
always when it falls, it rises.
Yeah,
it's always falling.
So what do we call that?
Law of demand.
Right, what is it?
Law of demand.
Law of demand, very good. Guys, remember law of demand? Remember law of demand says that when the price goes up, we buy less. Price goes down, we buy more, right? So according to law of demand, the change between our price and quantity is always inverse. And that's why demand curve is always going down. So your elasticity is always negative for this over here. So because your price elasticity is always negative, we don't like negative answers. So only for this one, once you finish, take absolute value, so we give you a positive 1.5. Okay. So because it's always negative, once you finish, take absolute value, so it's always positive. Make sense? Yeah. All right. All right, guys, try this. So I have 2 points here. So now you need to find out what is our percentage change in quantity first, and then find out what is our percentage change in price, and then divide the two, and then give you elasticity. Okay, so try that on your own. So find out first what is the percentage change in quantity. So I have 2 quantities, right? So find out what the percentage change is, and then find out the percentage change in price. And the last step, use quantity divided by price, and that is our elasticity for demand. Find out how much is our quantity change, and then find out how much is our price change. And the last step, divide the two, and find out how much is our elasticity for demand. Guys, it's always mu minus O divided by O. So the number at the bottom, data and top, that's a quantity. So these two numbers is the mu minus the O divided by the O to be the percentage in quantity. That's the quantity. And this is the price. I know how much it costs. Hey guys, once you put the numbers in the calculator, it's best to do step by step. Okay, if you do everything all together, if you miss a parenthesis, your answer will be wrong. So make sure to do it step by step. And when you're doing the 12 minus 8 divided by 8, then do the 12 minus 8 first, and then divide by 8. So don't put everything all together. Simple use the alternative divided by 8. So 8 is the whole number. Right? Now, when you look at the price, should be 200 minus 250. That's 2 is a number. Let's put it in. To be consistent. Hey guys, make sure when you choose your point A, point B, which is new, which is old, be consistent. Okay, so if your 12 is the new number, that means your 200 must also be the new number. So make sure they're consistent with each other. Okay? Yeah, I think this number here is not consistent. You're going from A to B. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, the new minus the old. Guys, be careful with the numbers. If you make one little mistake, your entire calculation is all wrong. Okay? Yeah, guys, when you finish, make sure to take an absolute value. So answer is always positive. Okay. All right, guys, we have two answers on the board. We have a 1.32, no, this is hard to see, 1.32 and then 2.5 over here. So which one is right? 2.5? Why 2.5? This number is more. Why 2.5? So because your answer is 2.5, therefore 2.5 must be right. What's the good answer? Which one's the good answer? 1.32 or 2.5? Which one's the good answer? There only be one right answer. 2.5. All right, guys. Let me tell you a story. Okay, a story you probably heard it before. So in the story it says, actually this is in the Bible. You guys read the Bible closely. It's in the Bible. So in the Bible it says, on the 7th day, God made A. On the 8th day, God made B. Ever heard it before?
No.
You sure?
Are you talking about Adam and Eve?
Yeah, it says on the 7th day, God made A. On the 8th day, God made B. Heard it before? All right, let me ask you. So between A and B, which one come first? Why?
God made.
Why is it because alphabetical? Now, guys, hear this. Between A and B, we don't know which one comes first. There's just two letters, right? Now, if you know which one comes first, which one comes second, you do the new minus old divided by the old. Now, however, for elasticity, we don't know, so your percentage change for elasticity is your new minus old divided by old, right? So that's a percentage change. When you're doing elasticity for chapter 5, and then this goes for your quiz, for the test, For this formula, new minus old divided by old. Do not use this. It's the wrong formula. Okay. Yeah, everything you just did is wrong. Now let me teach you the right formula for it. The right formula for it. The right formula is called the Midpoint Method. Now, many of you probably heard this before in your algebra class. So Midpoint Method, your percentage change, you're going to do the difference between the 2 points divided by the average between the 2 points. Okay, so do not do the new minus old divided by old. I want you to do the difference divided by the average. Now, the benefit of this Midpoint Method is that when you do this between A and B, it doesn't matter which one comes first, which one second. Your answer will be the same. So that's the benefit of doing this Midpoint Method. So for your homework, for your quiz, for your test, only use this Midpoint Method. Use the difference divided by the average. So let's do it together, okay? So we have 2 points here. Let's suppose, we'll just call a number. So we're going to call this one 0.1, and this is 0.2. So let's find out what is our percentage change in quantity. Now we're going to do the difference first. We're going to do the 12 minus the 8. That's our difference. And then divided by the average between 2 points. So to find the average, we're going to use the 12 plus 8 divided by 2. And that is our average. So let's now, when you have a formula like this, now you probably want to plug everything to the calculator. Do not do that. Do it step by step. Because if you do it all together, if you miss one parenthesis, your answer will be totally wrong. Okay? So we're going to do step by step. Now, 12 minus 8 is how much? 4, right? That's easy. 12 plus 8 is how much? 20, and 20 divided by 2? 10. Right? So just 4 divided by 10, which is 0.4. 40%. Or 40%, right? Either one's right. So the quantity change, percentage in the quantity is 0.4. Now, guys, do the same thing for price. Find out what is our percentage change in price. So find numbers. So between these two numbers here, first find the difference, and then divide it by the average. That's what I do. Okay. Guys, remember school, especially college. College is not for learning. College is for suffering. Okay? The more you suffer, the better I am. All right. So guys, use the same formula. So use the difference divided by the average. Find out what's the percentage change in our price. Find the difference. Now, you see how I labeled this 0.1, 0.2? We want to make sure when you do the different calculations, that these 2 points need to be consistent. Okay, so if you use 12 minus 8, then when you do the prices, it should be 200 minus 250. So which one comes first? Which one's the first number, second number? Make sure they're consistent. Because once you finish the answers, right now for elasticity for demand, the sign doesn't matter. But later on, when you're taking the income elasticity or the cost elasticity, the signage doesn't matter. It goes to All right, guys, so for the percentage change on top, what's the number on top? 200 minus 250, very good. Now, what's the number on the bottom? 200 plus 250 divided by 2, right? Now, again, I'm gonna do step by step, okay? So first, 200 minus 250, how much is that? Negative 50, so minus 50 on top. Now on the bottom, 200 plus 250, how much is it? This is 450, right? And then divided by 2, how much is it? 225. So 225. So what is our percentage change in price? That's negative 50. Yeah. How much? Negative 0.222. Yeah. Okay. So 0.4 is our percentage change in quantity. 0.222 is our percentage change in price. So last step to find your elasticity for demand. And then do the 0.4 divided by the negative 0.222. What's the answer here? Keep 2 decimal. Guys, always keep 2 decimal. 1 point what? 1.82, right? 1.82 negative. Absolute value, so 1.82 is the answer. We'll take absolute value when you're finished, so it's always positive. 0.4. Use a calculator. Use a calculator. 0.4 divided by 0.222. Did you do reverse?
Yes.
Yeah, it should be simple. Because the 0.4 is the quantity, 0.22 is the price. It's 1.8188181 like this, right?
It's because you only use 2
Two decimal, keep 2 decimal. So you draw it here. If you keep all 3, then you're gonna have 1 point something. But always keep 2 decimals. Now, guys, let me give you the proper formula for price elasticity for demand. It's gonna be a very long formula. Okay. Everybody finish this? Can you read it?
Okay, I have
Yes.
the same question, I wasn't paying attention.
Uh-huh.
So, how did you get 82?
1.82.
Yeah,
Um,
I got 1.8018.
You just-
But do you round it
you
up?
run it to a 1.82. All right. So let me see.
Why do you round it up?
Let me do my calculator.
I went 3 decimals, but
But
some of the
three,
2s, but who told me?
Where's my calculator?
that's what I'm saying,
All right. So 0.4 divided by 0.222.
I got different.
Oh, okay, you're right. Okay, so 0.4 divided by 0.2222.
That's when I do it.
Huh. Yeah, so 1.8 you're probably better answer, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never said you were wrong. So 1.80 should be the better answer.
Okay.
Everybody got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, the thing is, in my class, always assume you're wrong, okay? Just kidding, just kidding.
So, in the decimal place, it's 0.222, so you want it to the
So
nearest thousand?
now, this is what you do. Your final answer is always 2 decimal. But before the final answer, it's a good way to keep 3 decimals. Okay? So everything else 3 decimal, but the last step only 2 decimals. That way your answer is more consistent. Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Because it said yours.
Now, guys, everybody got it? Can you reach this part?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let me give you the proper formula for price elasticity for demand. This equals to Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2, and then divide P1 minus P2 over P1 plus P2 divided by 2. That's the proper formula for elasticity.
What is ED?
Elasticity for demand. Do not Google ED. Okay? ED stands for elasticity for demand. So it's Q1 minus Q2 divided by Q1 plus Q2 over 2, and then divide P1 minus P2 over P1 plus P2 over 2. Now it's a very long formula, but if you break it down, right here is your percentage change in quantity. Right here is your percentage change in price. It's always the difference divided by the average, and then difference divided by the average. So put it all together, that's the formula for elasticity for demand.
Somebody died.
Or there's a bias on it.
I hope somebody-
But yeah, this is a pretty bad error. I'm still getting shot all the time.
Yeah.
So be careful.
I wonder why, I was driving down the road and guy thought it was okay just to pass me up. And I'm like, if I had a gun, I would have shot you.
No. Okay. Okay. Oh, this is what I do when I drive. I do slow because I'm Chinese. I will drive slow. Let them pass me. I don't care. Let them
No,
pass me.
but then he was being like bad about it.
Some
So-
people are just assholes when they drive. Don't worry about it. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, everybody got it? Yeah.
That's it.
Let's do a practice. All right, so guys, use these numbers. Find out what is the price elasticity for demand. So use the long formula. So Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 over 2, and then divided by Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 over 2. So use these two set of numbers. Make sure you're consistent. Long formula. You guys, by the way, when it comes to the in-person test next week, make sure I have a calculator with you.
But we don't have to come in person.
You don't have to. So again, this is the rule for it. You can come in person. That will give you one extra try. Once you finish your in-person test, you can also take 2 more times online.
And you'll count the highest.
So between those 3, I count the highest. And then again, you don't have to come to in person. You can take the 2 times online.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can we have a review?
Okay. So a review would definitely help you on the test. So no review.
Well, obviously, we're not gonna bring it to, you know.
Yeah. Okay. So this is how you review for the test. The best way to review for the test is to go over all the old quizzes. Now, guys, remember every time you finish your quiz, it'll show you the right question with answers on it. You can always go back to it. Okay. Let me show you how to do it. Before I forget, let me show you how to do
I
it.
did horrible on all of the tests.
I mean, we call this the quiz, but don't think as a quiz. Think as a practice. Okay, think as practice homework. Let me show you how to go back. So to go back, now once you go to your homepage, it looks something like this, right? What you want to do? Say over here says assessment. Go to assessment, and then click on quizzes. Now, once you click on quizzes, it shows you all the quiz you're going to take for the class. So this is a different class. Okay, but for your class, the quiz 1, 2, 3, 4 is all listed on there. And then if it's not on there, it's on the bottom, which says past quiz. Okay. So to look at your old attempts, you see how every quiz next to the quiz name is a little upside down triangle. What you want to do? Click on the triangle. Now, my side looks different than yours. When you click on the triangle, there will be only 2 tabs. And one tab is called submission. So click on submission. You can look at all the old attempts you did before with the questions and the right answer on it. So the best way to study for the test is to go over all the old quizzes. If you understand every question on the quiz, you'll be fine on the test. Because what I would do on the test, I would take similar questions from the quiz. I would change the wording for it. I would change the numbers for it. So every will be a brand new question, but very similar. So if you understand the quiz questions, you'll be fine on the test questions. Make sense? Yeah, the quiz is supposed to be hard. The test will be easier.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, so I took it. It's pretty easy for me.
I had a few questions on board.
Email the answer for you. Okay. And then guys, the same with the quiz. Some of the questions in the quiz are very difficult. I agree with you. So when I pick, there will be graphs on the test. So you gotta understand the graphs. Okay.
A lot of graphs, huh?
Many
Like
graphs.
half of the test
I wouldn't say half. I would say more than half.
I would just say, it's just because we have like a different, you're giving us like in person the formula on how to do it, and on the how like these.
It'll be the same formulas. So whatever formula we have is the same formula. Now, here, let me give you a rule for the in-person also online test. Okay. So for when you guys take your online test, remember all the questions will be brand new questions. Okay. So and then your test will be timed. So test online will be 50 questions, and you have 1 hour and 30 minutes. So 90 minutes will have 50 questions. So this is what you might do. Then many of you guys, you might go online, go to Quizlet, find the answer for it. Trust me, you won't find the answer.
No, you won't.
Yeah, because it'll be all brand new questions.
Okay?
It'll be all brand new questions. So don't even try Quizlet, don't even try Google it. The best you can do is try to understand the questions. Okay? So before you take the quiz or take the test, study all the old quizzes. And then also when you take your test at home, I'm not next to you, right? That means if you open your book, I wouldn't know. If you open your notes, I wouldn't know.
Everybody really got excited in the morning. He told me it was an accident that you put 4 nails in this spot.
I wouldn't know.
Them all.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Like,
So
okay.
so guys, now I'm not saying it's open book, open notes, but I'm not saying it's not open book, open notes. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
So do whatever that helps you. Okay. Now, however, for the face-to-face test, you only allowed to use 1 page of notes. So it's on a regular paper, 8 by 11, 1 side only, and must be handwritten for the face-to-face test. And for the face-to-face test, you will have 33 questions, and then it's also 1 hour and 30 minutes. So for the face-to-face, you have more time to work on the questions. Okay. So again, it's up to you guys. You can come if you want, and then really it wouldn't hurt you to come. Just give it a try, and if you do good on this face-to-face, then who cares about the online test, right? Yes.
So the test that is coming up is over the 4 chapters.
6 chapters.
6. Okay.
1 through 6. 1 through 6.
Can we go over the equilibrium?
Oh, we're gonna go. I mean, we're gonna go over if you have. Oh, you finished already today. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? No. All right. Let's continue. Remember, school is not for learning. Okay, school is for suffering. All right, guys, work on this. Find out what's the price elasticity for demand. So Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 divided by Q. Then Q1 plus Q2 over Q1 plus Q1 minus Q2, and then over Q1 plus Q2 divided by Q. Reading yourself. Because you got it wrong the first time.
And then it's gonna be wrong again.
Yeah, always low expectation. Okay. Assume you got it wrong. No problem.
And for the test, Professor, we have online. How many days? 1 day?
1 week.
What?
So next week, entire week, we can work on it. So from Monday until Sunday night.
Monday and Tuesday.
Monday until Sunday night.
Okay.
So from entire week.
Okay. Thank you.
Price minus price and quantity minus quantity.
So this
All right, everybody got 0.75? Yeah, good answer. Okay, so Now you will have 8600, 7400. Now the best thing with the midpoint method, it doesn't matter which one comes first. So if you do, this is the P1, Q1, and this will be P2, Q2. So plug the numbers in the formula, and then you have 0.75. Now if you reverse this, and if you do, this is P2, Q2, and this is P1, Q1, you will still have the same answer, 0.75. So that's the benefit of midpoint method. Okay, so make sure, know when you put all the numbers into the formula, when you do the calculations, do it step by step. So don't do everything all in the calculator at once. Break it down. Every single step, break it down, and then do the answer. Okay. So even though it might take you a long time, but it is better because if you make a mistake over here with a permanency, your answer will be wrong. So be careful, step by step, and then get a final answer for it. Okay. Make sense? All right, it will be on here. So Q1 or Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 over 2, and then divided by Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 over 2. Many people have nightmares of this class once you finish. If you do, it's totally normal. So Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2, divided by Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 over 2.
For the extra points is this Thursday, right?
This Thursday, and it will be a 5 to your first test.
Okay.
5 points. Okay.
What is extra credit again?
So again, Thursday at 1 o'clock in room 126. So North Terrace campus, academic building, room 126. From 1 to 2 o'clock, we have a guest speaker on campus. So come to the event, you get 5 points on your first test.
Plus the points that we already have.
Yes.
What building?
This building, academic building. So this building, and then room 126, which is on the hall.
It's not the auditorium, right?
It is like a huge room.
What is the event about?
We have a guest speaker on campus. He will talk about the cause of our recession. So, be 1 hour. Pretty cool guy. Met him a couple times. Actually, teacher on Team. So many of you met him before. He's a Chinese guy. I don't know his name, but it's Chinese guy. All right, everybody got it? Almost? I feel that too, but I don't know. Find out. Everybody got it? Yep. All right. Let's continue. So there are a couple of determinants for elasticity. Now guys, remember, elasticity measures how responsive our consumers are to any type of price change. So imagine we have two goods here. So between breakfast cereal and the science cream. Now if both goods price increase by 20%, now which one are consumers less responsive? Then we still buy this good even though it's 20% more expensive.
That's the only one.
So which one do we still buy when the price goes up 20%?
The breakfast. So what do you use every day?
Well, let's think about it. Right? So when the price for breakfast cereal increased by 20%, can we buy something else?
Yes.
Yeah. Like what?
Something that's cheaper.
Like what? Give me examples.
Like an off-brand, like a store brand.
What if all the cereal increased by 20%? Oatmeal. Okay, oatmeal. What else? Bananas, right? Or Lego Mago, right? Lego Mago. So we can, what is it? Rice cakes, right? So when the price for breakfast cereal increased by 20%, we can buy something else. So in that case, consumers were more flexible. When you're more flexible, you have a lower, you have a lower elasticity. Now, vice versa. So you have higher elasticity. Now, vice versa, for sunscreen, when the price increased by 20%, can we buy something else? Besides sunscreen. Can we buy something else? We can wear like a long sleeve shirt and shorts, right? To cover all the body part. What about the face?
The hat.
The hat. Okay, so what if you go into the Galveston beach? It is very windy outside. Can you still wear the hat?
Yeah, you just have to.
Oh, you tie it down over here. You tie it down over here. That looks pretty bad, doesn't it? Right? If you go onto the beach. Let me show you something.
Why not a fisherman?
Are you showing the picture of you?
No. No, not me. My people.
Oh, the big hats. The big old,
What?
right?
No. Oh, wait, what? The school computer lost internet. Let me try this. All right, here we go. Okay. This thing is called face bikini. It's a bikini for your face. Okay.
What?
Yeah,
Face tea?
face bikini.
Wait, that's.
So that's a bikini for your face. So you can wear long sleeve shorts and pants and shirts, and then wear this to cover your face.
That's bad.
Yeah.
It looks like that by a rubber
No. The thing is, so this is very popular in countries like China, Korea, and Japan. I don't know.
Maybe it looks so good.
You want to buy one?
No.
Anybody want to buy one?
Wait, is that?
Why are you?
I don't sell this. No, I don't sell this. But
You sure?
you can. I'm pretty sure. Go to Amazon. Amazon sell everything. So Amazon, and then type in face bikini.
No way.
Oh.
Yes way. So that.
Oh,
Yeah. $4. You get your face bikini. Okay. All right. So let's go back over here. All right, so when the price for both goods changes. Now, for breakfast cereal, we have other options. We can buy other stuff. But for sunscreen, we don't have that many options, right? So which means when the price for sunscreen increased by 20%, we still have to buy it. Now, let me go back to this point elasticity. Let me tell you what it means. So if you have a high elasticity, that means consumers were more flexible. We can buy other stuff because we're more responsive on the price change. If you have a low elasticity, that means we don't change at all. We still buy this good when the price change. So between two good here, if the good has a high number of close substitutes, that means there are more competition for this good. And this good has a very high elasticity. That we're more flexible. We can buy other stuff. Now, vice versa, if this good has a very little number of close substitutes, then when the price change, we cannot buy anything else. Then we have a very low elasticity. So this elasticity all goes back to how much choices the consumer have. The more choice you have, the higher the elasticity. The less choice you have, the lower elasticity you have. Make sense?
Like gasoline.
Gasoline, right? So when the price for gasoline change, we cannot change behavior. I mean, you cannot.
No, you can use the bus. You can do Uber.
You can do Uber, but you can Uber use gasoline.
Yeah.
What about well, you know what? Let's talk about Uber. Did I ever talk about the Uber in class? Oh, Uber works. Okay, so Uber, you guys taken Uber before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody here driven Uber before?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing with Uber, Uber is truly supply demand because the price for Uber ride is not constant. It varies depends on the market. So when there's a higher demand for Uber ride, price goes higher. When there's a lower demand for Uber ride or more supply for Uber ride, price goes lower. So a couple years ago, this is a couple years ago, there was a lady from Kingwood. She wanted to go to Reliant for rodeo. So in the afternoon, she took a Uber ride from Kingwood to Reliant. It cost her about $50. And then once the concert was over, she wanted to take a ride, the same ride for Reliant back to Kingwood. Now at the time, there was a very high demand for Uber ride. So on the way back, the same distance, on the way back, it cost her $400 on the way back because demand is higher. Make sense? And also another thing that this happened to a guy in Houston. So this guy in Houston, he went to New Orleans. And in New Orleans, he went to French Quarter. He drank a little too much. So he ordered a Uber ride back to his hotel. Now he drank too much. So when he put in the address for the Uber ride, he put in his home address on the Uber ride. And once he got into the Uber car, he passed out. And then the Uber driver actually drove him all the way from French Quarter to Houston. And then that ride cost him, because it's a late at night, so very high demand for Uber ride, it cost him $1,500 to get back to Houston. Okay. And then, but the thing is, his car is still in New York, and so I go back to New York and get the car. So Uber is also supplying it. Make sense? All right. Now, next, let's suppose the price of blue jeans and then clothing increased by 20%. Which one do we still have to buy? Clothing, right? Again, it all goes back to how much choice we have, right? When the price for blue jean increased, can we buy something else?
Yeah.
Sure, right? I mean, khakis, dress, shorts. But when the sweatpants, when the price for clothing increased by 20%, can we buy something else? Like wearing a bad sheet to school? Yeah, no, it doesn't happen that way, right? So this is the difference between two goods. If the good is very generally defined, so like clothing, food, transportation, so very generally defined, then this good has a very low elasticity. Then we don't have many choices. But if this good has a very narrowly defined, so blue jeans, hybrid cars, or Justin Bieber concert ticket, so very narrowly defined, then we have a very high elasticity. We can buy other stuff. So between two good is very generally defined, has a very low elasticity, but very narrowly defined has very high elasticity. And then guys, whatever you miss on the PowerPoint, on D2L, the PowerPoint is different than this one. D2L is the 8th edition PowerPoint. That's a company with a textbook. What I'm showing you right now is the 7th edition PowerPoint. It says for the last textbook. The reason why I'm showing you different PowerPoint is that I think this is a better PowerPoint for the class. Because if you look at the PowerPoint, this one going into more details compared to the 8th edition. Okay. If you need a copy for this PowerPoint, send me an email after class. I will email you back with the PowerPoints for 7th edition. Okay. All right, everybody got it? Yeah. Now, let's suppose the price of insulin and Caribbean cruise all increased by 20%. Which one do we still have to buy? Insulin. Why?
Well,
Yeah, you're gonna die without it, right? So diabetic. I mean, so if you're diabetic, you need insulin. So insulin is a necessity. Is luxury cruise necessity too? No. Do we have to have luxury cruise? No. We don't have to, right? So between two good here, if the good is a necessity, then we have a very low elasticity. But if the good is it's a luxury good, we'll have a very high elasticity. There was a company a couple years ago, last year, this company increased the price for the HIV pill by more than 5,000%. That's heard it before?
Yeah.
The CEO name is Marco Security, something like that. So they increased the price by 5,000%. Now why? Because that pill was the only pill available for the patients. So for those patients, they have a very, very low elasticity. They have to buy it. That's why a company can increase the price by 5,000% and then consumers still buy the pill. Make sense? So for those pills, they're necessities. It's a very low elasticity, but for Caribbean cruise, we don't have to have it. It's a luxury good. It's a very high elasticity. Now, you guys been on the cruise before? Yeah?
Yes.
You like it? I don't know. It feels too long and too boring, right? And it depends on who you go with.
Yeah.
You start with them for at least the entire trip, right? Unless you jump overboard, but don't do that. So, any idea how much it would cost you to go on to the cruise for the entire year?
A lot. 100K.
All right. Well, let me tell you how much. So the current record that this one lady from Florida, she has been on the same cruise for the last 8 years. So it's the same route. So it's from Miami to the Caribbean. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. She just never get off the ship to Miami. So it costs her. Now she has a room to herself. So it's single occupancy. So it costs her the entire year about $130,000. So it's a lot of money, right? But the thing is, she have her retirement money. She sold her house in Florida, so she has all the money available. And also, luckily, her husband passed away. So luckily, right? And then she has his retirement money as well. So that's why she can afford it to be on the ship for the entire year, for the last 8 years. And then if you think about it, it's not a bad deal because everything is all cooked for you. You have a maid to your room every single day. They have emergency medical service, and it's always a nice view. right? So you can do that. So it's not that expensive, all
You
right?
don't have to pay for it.
Yeah, you don't need to pay for a car, you don't pay for any tax, any property tax. Right? It's always tax credit. Make sense? All right. So this is what you do. Before you guys get retired, marry as many as old people you can, so you get their retirement money. Okay. All right. Now, guys, let's suppose gasoline price will change. Let me do an example. So suppose if gasoline price get doubled, right now is $2.50 per gallon. Okay. Let's suppose for next week only. So only for 1 week next week, the price for gasoline will be $5 per gallon. Now, would you buy a new car for it? No. Just because next week only price double for gasoline? Not really, right? But now let's change that. Now, what if the price for gasoline is doubled from before $5 for the next 10 years for sure? Would you buy a smaller car now?
Yeah.
Buy a new hybrid car or a new Tesla?
Electric car.
We'll probably buy a
No.
Hybrid, right? Tesla too expensive.
No, well, actually,
They're
they're
gonna
coming out with a model for.
The Model C, right?
Yeah.
For everybody. Yeah.
Do you know what C stands for? Cheap. Okay, so if you buy the regular Tesla, the 4-door, it will cost you about $85,000. If you buy the Tesla X, the SUV, costs you about $100,000. If you buy the Tesla Model C, the starting price for it is only $35,000. But you cannot drive out with $35,000 because they will force you to put all the add-ons to the car. So once you drive out the car, it will be about $50,000. So still pretty expensive. And then the battery is not that big. The battery is only about 130 miles per charge. So every time you fully charge, it only goes about 130 miles. Now, this is the reason why you shouldn't buy a Tesla. Okay? It's a nice car and everything, but in Houston, you don't want to own a Tesla. Now, were you guys here during 2005? Remember Hurricane Rita?
Yeah.
Remember everybody all evacuated, right? So if you drive a Tesla, you can only go so far. Okay? And then if you want to recharge a car, it will take you 11 hours to fully recharge the car. So if you try to go anywhere in emergency, you're better off in a Corolla. Okay? Now, the hybrid works pretty good. I owned a Prius before. So for the Prius, for my Prius, it goes about 45, 48 miles per. Honda what? Honda hybrid, yeah. So those Honda, I mean, I know for my Prius, like 45, 48 miles per gallon. And then when a couple years ago, when gasoline was really cheap, like $1.75 per gallon, it would cost me about $15 to fully fill my tank. And then for a full tank, I can go about 450 miles for only $15. It's a really good deal. And then when the gasoline was expensive, I still pay pretty low. So when everybody's paying like $4 per gallon, I'll pay maybe like a $30, $32 for a full tank. It goes 450 miles. And then guys, the same with Prius. I know that you guys don't like Prius. You think it's very slow. The car is not slow. It's the driver that's slow. For my Prius, it's pretty fast. For my Prius, now they have a different mode. There's a regular mode, there's an eco mode, there's a sports mode. So when I do the sports mode, from 0 to 60, only take my Prius 14 seconds to go from 0 to 60. Okay, yeah, it's pretty fast. Now, if you want to see a comparison, if you drive the Ford Mustang, if you go to GT, the V8 Mustang, from 0 to 60, it would take the Mustang 4 seconds. The Prius would take you 14 seconds. It is very slow. It's a very slow car. That's why I changed it. Okay. All right. So for this change here, if the change is a short-term change, then consumers, we don't have time to adjust. Then we have to pay the higher prices. But if this change is a long-term change, then give consumers more time to respond, and then we will self-adjust and we'll change our behavior. So between two change here, if the change is a short-term, it has a very low elasticity. If it's a long-term change, it has a very high elasticity. Now the best example you can think about Hummer. Now Hummer was popular back in 04, 05, 06. Back then, gasoline was really cheap. Imagine like a $1.50 per gallon. That's when Hummer come out. And then by 07, when gasoline price become $4 per gallon, you don't see any Hummers anymore. It's too expensive. Because for a Hummer, like a 1 mile, one gallon goes only about 9 miles. You don't put a lot of money on for the gasoline, so people don't drive Hummers anymore. But for the last couple of years, gasoline becomes cheaper again, and then you see more Hummers on the road. So people getting back to how much? It does. All right. So let's continue. All right, I'm going to show you some demand curves, some different demand curves. For this vertical demand curve. Now, you're going to see this very rarely. When you have a vertical demand curve, that means it doesn't matter how much the price is, our quantity is the same. You see how on the demand curve, when the price for P1, so when the price is high, you're at this point. When the price is P2 at a lower price, you're on the same level for demand, for quantity. So for this demand curve, the consumer, we don't care about the price change. Doesn't matter what the price change is, we buy the same amount. So this is called a perfectly inelastic demand curve. That means consumers, we don't care about the price. So can you think of any examples of this perfectly inelastic demand? Yes. Well, when the gasoline price change, do we change our behavior? No. So right now, gasoline price is $2.50 per gallon.
So you stop that.
Yeah, you're gonna drive less. Imagine next week is $25 per gallon. What do? We drive less, right? We do more carpool. So gasoline is not perfectly inelastic. Anything else? Doctor visit. So, okay, so right now if you go to a doctor, for a visit probably costs you $100. If the visit costs you $1,000, do you still go when you have a cold?
No.
No, right? What else?
Groceries?
Grocery, okay.
I was gonna say something.
All right, let's talk about grocery. So for grocery, when the price for grocery is very high, so imagine like a head of lettuce costs you $25 for a head of lettuce. Do you still buy the same amount of head of lettuce?
No.
You buy less, right? So that's
I'll grow my own lettuce.
what is it?
I'll grow my own lettuce.
You grow your own lettuce, okay? All right. Yeah. Imagine all those marijuana grower. Switch lettuce. Yeah. That might come. You never know. Okay. You said water, right? Is water perfectly inelastic? I mean, kind of, right? Water, you gotta have it. So water is kind of this perfectly. You gotta have it anyway. What about air? Yeah. What if you gotta pay for it? Would you pay less? Yeah, sure.
Like the big companies with the CVS.
Oh, yeah, remember the drug company I said before, the company price increased by 5,000%?
Yes.
That will be a perfectly inelastic. Because for those patients, when they're HIV positive, they need those pills. Without the pill, they will die. So what the company did, the company increased the price for the pill from $13 to $500 per pill. So that's what it did. Okay. All right. So when you see a perfectly vertical demand curve, it's called perfectly inelastic. That means consumers, we don't care about the price change at all. Okay. So any type of pure necessity that we gotta have it, you're gonna have this perfectly vertical demand curve.
So what was perfect?
It just means we don't change at all.
I know, but you were gonna give an example.
Oh yeah. So the drug we talk about, the HIV drug,
Oh.
that will be a perfectly inelastic. And then you said water will be one too. Air will be another example for perfectly inelastic. So everything that we just gotta have, doesn't matter what the price is. What is it? Do we gotta have Wi-Fi?
Yeah, for school.
Who cares about school? We don't care about school. All right, next one. If you see a very steep demand, so not vertical, but steep, a very steep demand curve, this is called an inelastic demand. So for this demand curve, our consumers, we don't care about the price change that much. We care only a little bit. So what you mentioned before, gasoline will be an inelastic demand. When the price changes by a lot, we'll only change our behavior by a little bit. That's an inelastic demand. So any type of necessity, there will be an inelastic demand. Okay. And if you think about your college textbooks are also an inelastic demand. The consumers, we care about the price change only a little bit because you're gonna buy it anyway. So that's why your textbooks can be very, very expensive. Okay. I mean, for my class, for our class, I don't require you guys to buy the new textbook. You can buy the older ones cheaper. But for many other classes, you have to buy the current edition, and usually costs like $200 for a textbook. And the reason why, because we have this inelastic demand.
And then they changed the edition of.
Yeah, the change edition like every couple of years, right? So you're gonna buy the new one, so you cannot buy the older one. Yeah, so you're gonna put in a folder so you can always resell them. The reason why your textbook is so expensive, sometimes if you guys go to the parking lot, you can see my Porsche over there.
Yeah.
So your textbook is supporting for my Porsche. Just kidding, no, I don't own a Porsche. No, I have a Subaru, and I don't have that much money. So how much you guys paying? How much you guys paying for a textbook? The teachers, we don't get anything out of it, right? So that's why the teachers, when we're selecting for your textbook, we're only selecting what is the best for the school or for the students. That's why it's selecting.
So the textbook people get not much.
They have private jet. They have private jet. All right. Everybody finished? Yeah. Now, next one, if you have a 45-degree line, so this is like a 45 degree, right? So this, we call this a unit elastic. And then for unit elastic, that means how much it change in the price is matched by how much it changes in your quantity. So for this example here, if your price falls by 10%, quantity goes up by 10%. So 10 over 10, elasticity equal to 1, we call this a unit elastic. Okay. If it's less than 1, it is inelastic. But if it's equal to 1, we call it unit elastic. So less than 1 is called inelastic. Equal to 1 is called unit elastic. You guys watched the game last time? Last pretty bad time. Don't worry about it. We're gonna win the series. We're gonna do the Yankees. Okay. But we're gonna lose the World Series to the Dodgers. Yeah, we can do it. And remember, always low expectations. Everybody got it? Yeah. Now, next one, if you see a pretty flat demand curve, this is called an elastic demand. That means in this demand curve here, our consumers, we care about the price change. When the price changes by a little bit, we change by a lot. So for this example here, our price goes down by 10%, but quantity, it changes more than 10%. So consumers, we're very sensitive about the price change. We care about the price change. So this is called an elastic demand. So any type of a luxury good, that's an elastic demand. Okay. Let me tell you a story of Porsche. So Porsche, by the way, do you guys call it Porsche or Porsche? Porsche. So Porsche is a German company. All the Porsche are made in Germany, and then they will ship them over here and sell them over here. So which means that for the company Porsche in Germany, they got a problem. It's called exchange rate risk. That they're gonna take the revenues in US dollar and then exchange it into the euro for the employees in Germany. So if this ratio ever change, it will change company's bottom line. So now right now in Europe, they all use euro. So euro is used by 27 countries in Europe. And then when euro was first set up back in 1999, initially it was the US dollar more valuable and the euro was cheaper. And then by early 2001, the ratio switched. It became the dollar getting cheaper, the euro getting more expensive. Now today it's still the same thing. So today you would take about a $1.20 or $1.12 euro dollar for every €1. So when the ratio changed, that means every car Porsche selling in America is now getting cheaper because it couldn't change for the old euro anymore. So Porsche decided to increase all the cars they sell in America. Every single car they sell increased by 10%. Now at the time, Porsche was selling only 2 models. It was the Porsche 911, the two-door sports car, and also the Porsche, the Cayenne, the big SUV they have. So when they increased the car, both cars by 10%, the Porsche Cayenne at the time was not expensive. It's only about $55 per year per car. The Porsche 911 costs you about $100 per car. Now between these two cars here, which one is a luxury car? The more expensive 911, because it will cost you $100, right? So according to our elasticity, that because 911 is a luxury car, when the price increased by 10%, the change in quantity will be more than 10%. The sales should be going down by more than 10%. But what happened was that the change of sales for 911 didn't change at all, didn't go down. But the sales for the Porsche Cayenne, which is the cheaper price for SUV, it went down by more than 10%. So what happened was that for the consumers who are buying the 911, now if you wanted to pay $100,000 for the car, you also need to pay $110,000 for the same car. So for those consumers, when they buy the 911 to those consumers, that's a necessity. But for the Porsche Cayenne, which is an SUV, you have other choices. So when the price for Cayenne increased by 10%, you buy other cars. So to consumers, the Cayenne, the lower price Cayenne was actually a luxury good. The higher price 911 was a necessity. Make sense? All right. Let's see the last one. The last one, if you see a perfectly flat demand curve, this is called perfectly elastic demand. Now in this demand curve, it says the consumers, we are super sensitive about the price change. So if you increase the price by 1 cent, we don't buy anymore. We buy something else. Remember in the beginning of last week, we talked about the market for your printer papers, the market for bananas, the market for broccolis. So if one company decides to increase the price for their goods by more than 1 cent, we buy from other companies. The perfectly competitive market. That's a perfectly elastic demand. So everybody is a price taker. You cannot set your own price, because if you set your own price just a little higher, nobody buys from you anymore. All right, so 5 demand curve. Now, guys, make sure you can recognize each of the 5 demand curve. So how it looks like, right? So perfectly inelastic, inelastic, uninelastic, elastic, and then perfectly elastic. So how each one looks like. You're gonna see questions like this on the test. Okay, so I'll give you a couple of graphs and I'll ask you to identify which one's which. Okay. Make sense? All right. Now here are some real elasticities in the world. X only has a 0.1 elasticity. So X are called inelastic because we don't change at all. Anything less than 1 is inelastic. So any idea why does X has a very low elasticity? X luxury good or necessity? Necessity, right? So that's why it's a very low elasticity. Also, X, this is a very general term. We didn't say what type of egg this is. Right? We didn't say this is the organic chicken egg, or we didn't say this is organic cat eggs. So we don't know what type of egg this is. So very general term. That's why it's a very low elasticity. Now, Mountain Dew has a 4.4 elasticity. Why is Mountain Dew so high? Very specific, right? Now, if we say if it's soft drinks, that has a lower elasticity. But if you go very specific, it's a very high elasticity. Now, what else? Is Mountain Dew a necessity? No, we don't have to have it. It also has more number of closed substitutes. You can drink Pepsi, Sprite, Coke, Dr. Pepper. So when this drink change in price, we buy something else. That's why Mountain Dew has a very high elasticity, but your eggs, your healthcare has a very low elasticity. Also, the same for rice. The rice elasticity in China is 0.2. Over here is 0.5. Because we eat more rice in China. Okay, make sense? Yeah, have a rice day. All right, let's try this. All right, guys, so find out what's the elasticity between A and B, between B and C, and also between C and D. So use the Q1, Q2 formula we did before. So find out the elasticity between A and B, B and C, and C and D. Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 over 2, and then divided by Q1 plus Q2 over P1 minus P2 over P1 plus P2 over 2. Okay. So use the same formula, find out what's the elasticity for demand between each point. come together. Yeah, let's go together. Okay. So let's do between A and B. So between A and B, our price, so 30, let's go with Q1, and 20 is Q2. Quantity, so quantity at point A is 0, so 0 is our Q1, and then at B, quantity is 20, so this would be our Q2. Okay. So let's remember the formula for elasticity. It's your Q1 minus Q2 over Q1 plus Q2 divided by 2, and then divide P1 minus P2 over P1 plus P2 divided by 2, right? So we're gonna find the numbers. So our Q1, Q2, so this will be 0 minus 20 over 0 plus 20 divided by 2, and then divide. P1 is 30, so 30 minus 20 over 30 plus 20, and then divided by 2. Yeah, so put the numbers, and then I'm going to do a step by step. So again, do not put everything all into the calculator. Do step by step. So first, for quantity, 0 minus 20 is how much? What is 0 minus 20? Minus 20, right? So minus 20. What's 0 plus 20?
20.
20 divided by 2?
20 divided by 2.
10, okay, so 20 divided by 10. And then divide. 30 minus 20? 10. 30 plus 20? 50 divided by 2? 25. So 10 over 25. All right, and then now let's do the calculators. Okay, so minus 20 over 10, this will be a minus 2. Divide. 10 over 25, this will be 0.4. So minus 2 divided by 0.4, your answer will be minus 5. Remember, take absolute value, so it's only 5. Everybody got it? Yeah? So do the same thing between B and C and C and D. So find out what's the elasticity between those 2 points. In your nightmares, you will hear Q1 minus Q2 divided by 2 over Q1 plus Q2. Use the long formula. Okay? So find out the elasticity between point B and point C, and then point C and point D. And you guys remember, every week you come to the face-to-face lecture. You get 3 points on your test. And if you watch online live, it's also 2 points. If you watch a recorded session, it's only 2 points. Okay? So if you can come and keep coming every week, it's 2 points. And trust me, those points, those extra points, will come in on the test. The test will be very hard. So again, lower expectation. Okay? Yes. Question?
You said if you watch online when it's live, you still see it?
Uh-huh.
And then is the lecture still this Thursday?
Yeah, so the extra points is
Okay.
Thursday at 1 o'clock.
About you?
1:26.
Okay.
I'll post the information online.
Okay.
So it's just 1:46, 1 o'clock from 1 to 2.
Okay.
So yeah, if you guys, so for the first test, we'll be covering chapter 1 through 6. That's the first 4 weeks. So for many of you guys who is doing live with me, that's 3 points per week. So it's like 12 points right there, right? And if you go to the lecture on Thursday, the 1 to 5 points, it's 17 points before the test, right? That means if you get a 43 on the test, you still get a 60. So yeah, lower expectation. 20 something. 15, yeah. Normally for the face-to-face class, on the first test, the average costs 80, 80. Now, for the online test varies a lot. For online test, many people start preparing for it, so we don't do that. Okay. So guys, again, if you can, If you can come next week, do the face-to-face test, and then do the online test. That way you do one more try, okay? And more time than urgent. It's a nice day outside. Yes, did you already have a class outside? You should do the same, right? Have a class outside. Yeah. Yeah? Tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah, we'll come tomorrow. Do you guys have a class tomorrow? Face-to-face class? Tomorrow, go outside. Enjoy yourself. Take a computer with you, learn our lectures on computer and do the homework on computer outside. No, I know there are mosquitoes outside. Just thinking like this, thinking that you're doing a charity for the mosquitoes.
I don't have enough blood.
You don't think that much. Only a topic.
Yeah.
Share the love.
So, do you want to find BNC?
BNC and the CND.
Okay, so we just are the P1 and P2 in place and
Now we're gonna do the P1. So for BNC, we're gonna do so for the price will be 20 and 10. And for the quantity will be 20 and 40. So the price and quantity will change according to which point on the up. Give me a couple of minutes. By the way, guys, today we have to finish class. We cannot go over at 2:30 today. Finish at 2:30. Because I gotta go pick up a cake on my girlfriend. She's having a birthday. Don't tell her why. Normally I wouldn't care about her birthday that much, but because she's pregnant, so it's a big deal. If you haven't known yet, it is my kid.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure. I can't be 100%. I'm pretty sure.
50-60% sure.
I gotta ask her.
So, this is point. This is 2 point, right? So 10 and 20. Yeah, that makes 30.
What's BNC?
BNC, right? So 10 and 20. You see on yours have 10 and 30.
Okay.
Yeah, careful.
This is not a my answer is still positive and I get that. I just basically skipped the absolute part. But you recommend not skipping the absolute part.
It's going to be a Saturday.
Because usually if I tried to both of these. I put this one and this one. I still got one.
Yeah, that's the benefit of Midpoint Method. Doesn't matter which one come first, it's finances.
All right.
All right, guys, let's go over this. Okay, so so between B and C, between B and C, gonna do the quantity first. So let's call this one Q1, this is Q2, and here is Q1, here is Q2. So this will be 20 minus 40 divided by 20 plus 40 divided by 2, and then divide 20 minus 10 over 20 plus 10 divided by 2, right? And then simplify. So this will be minus 20 on top, 15 on the bottom, and this will be 10 on top, and then 15 on the bottom, right? This is 30.
Does it matter what side we put it to?
What do you
Like, let's say we put 40 minus 20.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So I mean, again, the benefit of the Midpoint Method is that if you switch this, the answer is still the same. Right? So this will be minus 0.667 divided by 0.667. So the answer should be minus 1. And the alpha value, the answer is 1. So between B and C, our elasticity is 1. And then between A and B, elasticity is 5. And then if you did it correctly for the last part, you did C and D, elasticity should be 0.2. Right? So, all right. So you see how on this demand curve that for this same good, but on the same demand curve, depends on where you are, elasticity is different. See how at a higher level demand curve, elasticity is 5, but the lower level demand curve, elasticity is 0.2. So this is the reason why. When the good is very cheap, we don't care about the price change. When the good is more expensive, then we do care about the price change. Now, imagine this. Imagine the price for gasoline right now is only 10 cents per gallon. Tomorrow it doubled. It'll go to 20 cents per gallon. Which is your behavior. You drive less. At 20 cents per gallon?
No.
Probably not, right? It's so cheap, who cares about it? But imagine gasoline is not so cheap. Imagine gasoline today is $4 per gallon, and tomorrow becomes $8 per gallon. Do you care about the price change?
Yeah.
Sure you will, right? So anything we buy, when it's cheap, we don't care about the price change. It's very, very inelastic. When it's more expensive, we do care about the price change to become more elastic. Couple years ago in Iran, they were going through this section from UN because of the nuclear program. So Iran has to end their subsidy program on gasoline. So overnight, gasoline price tripled in the country. And then people were protesting on the street. They were saying gasoline was too expensive. So what happened to gasoline when it tripled? It becomes 30 cents per gallon. It's still cheap, right? But people just don't use it. Okay. Makes sense? Yes.
On C, it's gonna be 0 and 10, right?
Yeah, 0 and 10. So
And 0 and 20.
0 and 10, and then 40 and 60. So C and D, so C is 10 over here, 40 over here,
Okay.
and then D is 60 over here, and 0 over here.
Okay, so it's gonna be 0, 10, and then 46.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Everybody got it? Yeah. All right, so one more use for elasticity. Company can also use elasticity to maximize the total revenue. Now, guys, if you're a company, what is your goal? Revenue? Maximize revenue is your goal to maximize revenue? Yeah? Okay. So we have an iPhone what? 5?
It's the SC.
SC, okay. So how much you pay for it?
$200, $300.
Oh, that's not bad, okay. So let's suppose this. Suppose I'm a consumer here. I want to buy this iPhone. Let's say this is a brand new iPhone. I want to buy this iPhone for $25. If you're Apple, would you sell this to me for $25? No, just pay out $25. No, right? Because you probably lose money. Now, here's the thing. If you try to maximize your revenue, you will sell this for $25. Because revenue is how much money you're collecting from your customers. Doesn't matter how much your profit is. So revenue, how much money you're collecting from customers. So if you sell this to me for $25, you have $25 more. But if you don't sell this to me for $25, you don't have $25. So the goal for a company is not to maximize your revenue. The goal for a company is to maximize our profit. Now, the difference between revenue and profit. Revenue is your price times quantity. That's your revenue. So take how much you pay for each item or how much you're collecting from each item times how many you're going to sell. That's your revenue. And then your profit is your revenue minus your cost. That's your profit. So the goal for every company is to maximize our profit, not to maximize our revenue. Now, however, we can use our elasticity here, try to maximize our revenue. Okay, so again, revenue is equal to price times quantity. So guys, at point A, how much is my total revenue at point A? 30 is the price. But how much my total revenue at point A?
Zero.
Why 0?
30 times 0.
30 times 0, right? So our price is 30, quantity is 0. So total revenue at this point is 0. Because we don't sell anything. And by the way, I always talk this about my wife. She can cook pretty good. She's a cook. But the problem is she never cooked. So 100 times 0, she give you 0, right? Doesn't mean anything. So 30 is our price, quantity is 0, then total revenue will be 0. Now at point A, if I try to increase my total revenue, should I increase my price or lower my price? I should lower the price. Because if I go to point B, when the price lowers to point B, how much is my total revenue at point B?
20.
Be careful.
20 times.
It'll be 400, right? Because 20 is the price. Quantity is 20. So price times quantity,
Oh.
your revenue at point B is 400. Make sense? So at point A, if I try to increase my total revenue, I should lower my price. Now, at point D over here, how much is my total revenue? Still 0. Because even though you sell 60 units, but the price is 0. So 0 times 60, you still have a 0 over here. Now, if I try to increase my total revenue at point D, should I increase my price or lower my price? I should increase my price. Because at point C, when the price is $10, how much is my total revenue? 400. So which means that on the same demand curve, depends on where you are on the demand curve. If you try to increase your total revenue, it depends on your elasticity. So guys, write this down in your notes. You write it down. This is not in the book or the PowerPoint, but you know this on the test or also on the quiz. If your demand is elastic, so elastic demand, we should lower our price to increase our total revenue. So demand is elastic, we're going to lower the price to increase total revenue. If demand is elastic, we're going to lower the price to increase total revenue. So demand, elastic, lower the price to increase total revenue. Demand, elastic, lower the price to increase total revenue. Okay? So demand, elastic, lower the price, increase total revenue. Now, when demand is inelastic, we should increase price to increase total revenue. So when demand is inelastic, we should increase price to increase total revenue. So elastic, lower price, inelastic, increase price. To increase total revenue, yes. So elastic, lower the price. Inelastic, increase price, increase the revenue. Now, any idea what should we do when demand is at unit elastic? Don't do anything. At unit elastic, your total revenue is maximized. Okay? So at unit elastic, total revenue is maximized. So you see how over here, between B and C, our elasticity equal to 1, that's unit elastic. That means between these 2 points, your total revenue is maximized with the same thing. You cannot go any higher. So when demand is unit elastic, our total revenue is maximized. Make sense? Yes. They will come handy on your quiz, on your test. Okay. All right.
Wait, please don't worry.
They will come handy on your quiz, on your test. So when demand is elastic, we should lower price to increase total revenue. When demand is inelastic, we should increase price to increase total revenue. When demand is unit elastic, your total revenue is maximized. Okay, all right. Okay, let's skip all this. Now, guys, when you go through your notes, there's a big section on the elasticity for supply. Skip that. Okay, that's not on the test. All right, so 2 more. Something called an income elasticity. So for income elasticity for demand, we're measuring the change in quantity against the change in income. So we want to know that when consumer income change, how would this change our level of demand in the economy? Now, before, when you finish your elasticity for demand, you take out the value only for the price elasticity. If you do the income elasticity, you will not take absolute value. Because we care about the signage. So for income elasticity, if your income elasticity is positive, that means this is a normal good. If income elasticity is positive, that's normal good. If income elasticity is negative, that's an inferior good. Remember the difference between normal and inferior good? And normal good says when income goes up, we buy more, and the inferior good is when income goes up, we buy less. So with income elasticity, we can determine if this good is a normal good or an inferior good. So the elasticity is more than 0, so positive, that's normal. If it's a negative, that's inferior. So positive is normal, negative is inferior good. Oh, so the only thing I don't like about iPhone is
The ringtone.
the ringtone, right? Everybody has the ringtone. Yeah,
Yep.
everybody has the ringtone. That's the only thing about iPhone.
I mean, you can change it, but nobody can do it. You know.
Yeah, every other ringtone they have on the phone is pretty bad. You don't have to phone, you're not going to pay for it. And everybody's so cheap, so nobody pays for it. All right, so there's one more. I want to write it down. It's not in the notes. Okay. If your income elasticity is more than 1, so income elasticity is with more than 1, it's a luxury good. So more than 1 is a luxury good. Less than 1 is a necessity. So more than 1 is a luxury good. Less than 1 is a necessity. More than 1 is a luxury good. Less than 1 is a necessity. You guys name some basic necessities you buy all the time. Water, okay. What else? Food, gas, milk, eggs. Now, guys, if you notice that in every single grocery store, once you go into the grocery store, the milks and eggs, they're always at the very end of the grocery store. The reason why that is because the store, they want you to go all the way to the end. When you're going all the way to the end, you're also passing other aisles, right? You're gonna buy more stuff and you go passing other aisles. So you buy all the stuff you don't need anymore, and then you buy the milk and eggs. Okay? So where they put the stuff is very strategic. And also, there's also something called an eye level good. So for different shelf height, what the company will do, they will put the most profitable good, at the I level. That's where consumers buy the most often. The less profitable, they're either at the very bottom or the very top, right? So you want to save money, don't look at the I level, look down, look higher. Right? That's where the bargains are. Make sense? Everybody got it? So more than one is a luxury good, less than one is a necessity. More than one luxury, less than one necessity. And the last one for chapter 5 is called a cross-price elasticity. So for cross-price elasticity, we compare between two goods. Compare between the quantity for good 1 against the price change in good 2. Now, for this one, we also care about the signage. Because if your cross-price elasticity is positive, and these two goods, they're a substitute. That means we buy one, we don't buy the other one. They're very competitive. So if your cross-price elasticity is negative, we call this a complement. We buy them together. Okay. So again, do not take out value. We care about the signage for this one. If it's positive, they're a substitute. If it's negative, we call them complements. Positive, they're a substitute. Negative, they're complements. All right, and then next, let's talk about chapter 6. We have 15 minutes. Chapter 6. All right, so chapter 6 is supply, demand, government policies. We're gonna learn what is called a price control and also our text. So for price control, we don't normally have price control in the economy, but we do have it in some markets. So for price control, they're called the price ceiling or the price floor. So price ceiling is the legal maximum price consumers can pay for good and service, and then price floor is the legal minimum that company can charge you on a good and service. Again, we don't have this a lot, but we do have it in some markets. So for price ceiling, there is an example called rent control. So rent control is where the government step in and telling the landlord says, hey landlord, for this house you have, you can only rent it for this much. You cannot go over that. That's called rent control. We don't have this in Houston, Texas. Actually don't have this in most part of the country. But if you go to New York, they have it. Go to Seattle, they have it. Go to San Francisco, LA, they all have it. So the reason why they have it because rent can be very, very expensive. When I was in graduate school, I had a classmate. This guy, after the first year in graduate school, he was hired by an investment bank in New York. So actually, he took the offer. He moved to New York. His first year salary was $100,000. Now, for a 24-year-old, that's a lot of money. Right? But the problem was that the job was in New York. So he moved to New York. He first wanted to find a place to live that's closer to work, so closer to the Manhattan area. So he didn't want a big space. He wanted to find like a studio apartment. Now, guys, do you know what's a studio apartment?
Yes.
Yeah, like a big room with no separation. So living room, kitchen, bedroom, all in the same room. The studio, right? So it's pretty small. So he wanted to find a studio apartment in Lower Manhattan area. So only thing he found was a very tiny studio apartment. It's about 5 minutes walk to work to Manhattan. It would cost him $3,700 per month for a tiny studio apartment. So can't afford it, right? So what he did, he actually went cross river. He went to Brooklyn. Now, at the time, Brooklyn was still pretty bad. Now it's better, but back then it was pretty bad. So he went to a very bad part of Brooklyn. He got a 2-bedroom apartment. So he got a roommate. So my friend was having a bigger bedroom, so pay a bigger share of the rent. So he will pay about $1,400 per month. His roommate pays $1,100 per month. So between two of them, in a very bad part of Brooklyn, a 2-bedroom apartment will cost him $2,500 per month. Very expensive. So that's why in New York, in certain neighborhoods, the government will put a control for it. It says for this neighborhood, the maximum rent is only this much. Just like Chicago, right? So for the rent control apartment, it's usually half the price of market value. So for the same apartment, my friend was paying $2,500 for. If it's rent control, it's only about $1,200. So very, very cheap. Now, the reason why rent is very expensive in New York, because houses are very expensive in New York. Now, over here, we don't care about that much, but New York is very expensive. Okay? But New York is not the most expensive housing market in the US economy. Any idea which city had the highest average home price?
It was probably
It's not Chicago.
not super expensive.
San Francisco. So San Francisco, back in the summer of 2015, so 2 summers ago, in the summer 2015, the average home price in San Francisco just broke $1 million. Now, $1 million in Houston, you can buy yourself a nice mansion. $1 million in San Francisco, you can buy a very tiny house, maybe like a 3-bedroom small house, with maybe a small front yard, no backyard, with no garage, gonna park on the street. That will cost you $1 million. And by the way, the house was built in 1965. Right? So that's why San Francisco is very, very expensive. Right? That's why in that city they have rent control apartments. All right. So for a price floor, for example, for it will be a minimum wage. So minimum wage. Now, how much is minimum wage over here? $7.25. Right. So which means for a company to pay you, the lowest they can pay for it will be a $7.25, and that'd be a price floor. The price ceiling is a legal maximum. Price floor is a legal minimum. Okay. All right, let's look at the price ceiling and price floor. So let's suppose right now we have this market. So for this market, the current rent is $800, and the quantity will be at 300. And then tomorrow, government comes in, says we're going to put a rent control, and so the price ceiling, right, this is the legal maximum. So for this price ceiling, we're going to place this at $1,000. Now, any idea what type of effect that this $1,000 price ceiling will have on the marketplace? Will it cause the price to go up 1,000? Any idea? Let me give you an example. So guys, when you drive to North Harris, you people Railway 8 drive to North Harris. Yeah.
That's amazing.
1960. So there's too many lights on 1960. I took Railway, it's pretty fast. Now, what's the speed limit on Railway 8? 65, right? No. So the speed limit is 65. Now, how fast do you go? 85?
It's because I'm driving from Kingwood, like Kingwood Park.
Okay.
Park High School.
Yeah.
To the leave.
You can leave early.
Oh, I can.
Oh, you
That's
can?
my word. Yeah, I get out
Okay.
at 11. No, I got a 12.
Well, hours are pretty close, pretty tight. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
I actually drove from Kingwood campus over here today. It took me like almost like 20-25 minutes to drive to this campus. So now here's the thing. So the speed limit on Railway 8 is 65 miles per hour. Now that's the legal maximum. You shouldn't go over it. If you go over it, if you're driving 66 miles per hour, 1 mile over, they can give you a ticket for it. Right? Now that cop would be an asshole, but still they can give you a ticket for it. Let's suppose something changed. Okay, suppose the speed limit is 65 miles per hour, and you're driving only 60 miles per hour. Now let's suppose tomorrow the speed limit on Railway 8 is changed. It changed to 165 miles per hour. Now, would you still go over that?
Yes.
Please don't. Yeah, please don't. All right, so this is the thing. So the speed limit, that's the legal maximum. As long as you're below the legal maximum, you don't have to change, right? As long as you're below the legal maximum, you're not breaking any laws over there. Same thing over here. So for this price ceiling, as long as the current price is below the legal maximum, we don't have to change. But no, it's still 800. It's still 800. Now, so for this price ceiling, when it's placed above our equilibrium price, we call this price ceiling not binding. It wouldn't cause any change to the economy. But for this economy, the current price is only $800 per month. So we're looking at this, the price ceiling says, oh, 1,000, that's fine. We don't have to change because our current price 800 is already below the legal maximum. So we don't have to change, and we're not going to change at all. So that's why your price will stay at 800, and then we call this price ceiling not binding. Now, the reason why the price wouldn't go up to $9.99, let's draw a line, and then you can see what the difference is. Okay, so let's suppose, like what you said, the price will go up to $9.99. So there'll be somewhere over here. So when the price goes up to $9.99, what do we call this type of market? Surplus, right? So when the price goes up to $9.99, this will be creating a surplus in the economy. then that means there will be many rooms that's left unrented. Nobody's living in it. Now, if you're the landlord and you have this room that nobody's living in it, you're not making any money out of it. What would you do? Lower the price, right? So that's why if your price go up to $9.99, it'll come back to the equilibrium price. So it wouldn't go anywhere, right? So as long as the equilibrium is below your price ceiling, this price ceiling is called non-binding. It wouldn't cause any change. Now let's make it binding. Okay, so if your price ceiling is below equilibrium, this is called a binding constraint. Because for this, it will cause a change in the economy. So when the price ceiling is below equilibrium, we call this a binding constraint. This will cause a change in the economy. Now that means our old price of 800 is not good anymore. Because the old price 800 is actually breaking our law over here. The law says the maximum is 500. So when that happens, once you have a binding constraint, your price will come down to 500. But at 500, you will have a surplus or shortage. You have a shortage, right? Now, even though you have a shortage, normally when you have a shortage, the price will go back up to 800. But because you have the legal maximum here, the price will stay at 500, and you will continue to have a shortage in this economy. Now that's why in New York City, if you want a rent control apartment, many of you guys don't qualify. To get a rent control apartment, you must be a family with children. And also to apply for the rent control apartment, right now there's about 2-year waiting list. So you put your name on the list, and then 2 years later they will call you and say, hey, Mr. Square, come take a look. We got an apartment for you. And if you go to the apartment, if you like it, you take it. If you don't like it, then they will put your name on the back of the list again. Okay, so that's why there's a shortage for all the rent control apartments because it's super cheap. Make sense? Yeah. All right. So that's your price ceiling. Next, let's look at the price floor. So for price floor, let's suppose currently our wage for the market economy is at $6 per hour, and then our number of workers will be at 500 workers or 500 hours. And then tomorrow, government coming says we're going to put a new price floor, and then for this new price floor will be placed at $5. So the new minimum wage will be $5 per hour. Now, any idea what type of change this will cause on the economy? Will the wage go up or down? Go down? Go down. Who's saying the wage will go up? Who's saying the wage will go down? Who's saying that it's already time for lunch? I need to go now. Okay. All right, so here's the answer. It wouldn't go down. Because this price floor, now remember, price floor is the legal minimum. As long as you're above the minimum, you're doing okay. You don't have to change. So for this price floor, when it's below the legal, when it's below our equilibrium price, we call this not binding. So when the price ceiling is above, it's not binding. The price floor, when it's below, is not binding. It wouldn't cause any change. I mean, really imagine this. Imagine you're working for a company, and right now they pay you $6 per hour, and then tomorrow government says, hey, by the way, the legal minimum wage is $5 per hour, and the company says, I need to lower your wage from 65. You'd be pissed off, right? You're gonna go somewhere else. So that wouldn't work. So that's why when the minimum wage is below the current equilibrium, it causes no change in the economy because it's not binding. Make sense? Now, vice versa, that if this minimum wage is above equilibrium, so if it's placed at 725, now it's a binding constraint. But for this binding constraint, it will push the price of wage to 725 because you cannot go below 725. So at 725, that's our new wage. But at 725, do we have a surplus or shortage? We have a surplus. Now let's think about why that is. Okay. So if you're the company and you're going to pay the employee more, would you hire more people, less people? You hire less people, right? And also, if you're a worker and that company pay you more now, you want to work more or work less? Yes. Work more. Work more, right? So company hire less people. Workers want to work more, then there's a surplus of workers. Now, what do we call this surplus of worker? There's a term for it. Starts with letter U. Unemployment, right? So when you have this binding constraint of a higher minimum wage, it will cause unemployment in the economy. Makes sense? Now, you guys probably heard that there has been a push to increase our minimum wage from the current $7.25 to the $15 per hour. I said that before. Now, the reason why they're asking for a $15 per hour, because now, if you look at our minimum wage today, which is $7.25, compared to the minimum wage in history, $7.25 is the highest in history. But however, don't look at these numbers. Look at how much stuff you can buy with $7.25. So our minimum wage back in 1963 was $1.25. Today it's $7.25. But your $1.25 in 1963 is equivalent to $10 today. So which means your minimum wage worker today, they're making less money compared to 1963. So they're worse off. And that's why there has been a push to increase our minimum wage to a higher level. And also our current minimum wage of $7.25 is not a living wage. Because if you have a full-time job and they pay you $7.25 per hour, you cannot support yourself because you don't make enough money. So that's why there has been a push to increase our minimum wage. But here is your downside. If your minimum wage is increased too high, then many companies will look for other alternatives to produce the good cheaper. Robots, right? Technology, right? So many workers will be replaced by technology. Now, if you guys go to what's that place called? Buc-ee's. Remember how in Buc-ee's, when you order food, they don't have a person taking order, there's a computer, the kiosk, right? And also if you go to many of the new McDonald's, you have the same kiosk. There's a computer screen, you order a food from the computer and pay at the computer.
Like the movie tickets, did you get them online or you get them outside?
Yeah, outside with a machine, right? So then the people anymore. So when labor become more expensive, they'll be replaced by technology or outsourced to other countries. So which means we'll be creating more unemployment among low-skilled workers. Now, also on top of it, now imagine that if you're a low-skilled worker, you're getting paid $15 per hour. Good for you, you're getting higher pay now. Now imagine that this worker, let's say he's working for Walmart. So he's getting paid $15 per hour. And then every paycheck, he will spend it at Walmart, buy whatever they sell in Walmart. Now, if you're Walmart, then you pay employee more, what would you do with the prices you sell? Would you increase price or lower price? Increase price, because the cost is higher, right? So this worker who's getting paid $15 per hour with a bigger paycheck, but at the same time, the price of everything else is getting more expensive. So that's why when you have a higher minimum wage, this might cause a higher inflation economy. So when you look at this minimum wage argument here, you have the upside, you have downside. You want to compare this solutions better. And also for minimum wage, now in New York, if you're getting paid, let's take San Francisco. San Francisco has one of the highest standard of living in the country. $15 in San Francisco compared to $15 in Houston is nothing, right? Because Houston, everything is cheaper. So this minimum wage, it shouldn't be one size for all. It should be different wage for different areas. That maybe for like people in Texas, it should be like $10 per hour. And then maybe in people from California, that might be like a $15, $20 per hour. So it depends on where they are, there's a different standard from minimum wage.
But I feel like people would move where they get paid more and then just travel back, like
back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah.
That actually happens. It's not between California and Texas, but I think I heard a segment on radio. It was between Ohio and Idaho. There's one in neighbor state.
It's just like Mexico and the border. Like you live off the border of Mexico, and the living over there is super
cheap, right?
So you come and like you drive 2 hours maybe to get to work, and you get paid $8, and then you just go back to Mexico. And then you live in way better.
That's everything's cheaper in Mexico, right? People actually do that.
Yeah, I know.
And then a lot of students do that too. I mean, there are students. I mean, because at the El Paso border, we have a deal with what's the city cross border for El Paso? Laredo? Laredo?
No.
What is it? Forest?
Oh, yeah, that's the one that is.
Forest. Okay. So the UT El Paso have a deal with Forest. It says every student who's residents of our forest, they can take classes at UT El Paso, pay in-state tuition. So many students actually live in Mexico, and then come to El Paso to classes every day.
They get a student visa.
And then, but the problem is the border crossing. The traffic over there is very bad. So sometimes you can imagine it takes students like 2 hours to go through the custom check.
They just walk.
They walk is better.
They have like the little sidewalk and then there's like a
Walk is
line.
faster, yeah. But your car is over here, you still gotta drive a car in El Paso, right? So that's the problem.
You can have border and walk home.
I guess it's already 8:30, so let's finish it today. I know we didn't finish chapter 6. Did I put the chapter 6 lecture online? The YouTube lecture? No? All right, so guys, I'll put the YouTube lecture for chapter 6 online, so you can go home watch it, okay? All right, so remember, this Thursday is our actual credit. So it will be at North Harris campus, so this campus, in the academic building, room 126. It will be from 1 to 2 o'clock. Okay, so come if you can, and then take a selfie before the lecture, and then there will be 5 points on your test.
Take a selfie?
Take a selfie. This building 126. 1 to 2. 1 to 2. Okay. Oh yeah, sign. Let me borrow a paper from you. So guys, before you go, make sure sign so you get your extra point for it.
I emailed you, my friend and my guys into your because it says I have a 57 and then I did everything. I think it's just one of the points from the exam.
Yeah, you already found the first question. It's okay. Don't worry about it. This all this next semester. Okay. So what I can do, I can give you a priority seating for next semester. So this one you'll be guaranteed to take my class next semester. Guys, if you check your average in class right now, you'll be unpleasantly surprised, okay? Because your average is very, very, very low. And the reason why it's very low because your extra credit on the test is pulling down your average in class. So don't worry about the average right now. Just make sure check your quizzes, make sure finish every quiz. And once we finish the first test, once I put in the test grade, your average will be much, much higher. Okay, because for many of you guys right now, you're having like a 6 points or 9 points as an extra credit on the test. The system is believing you got a 6 or 9 on the test. That's why average is so low. So don't worry about it. Don't freak out. You'll be fine. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You think you could email me the PowerPoint?
Yeah, send me an email. Okay. Yeah, guys, if you need the PowerPoint for this one, send me an email and you can find the PowerPoint.
Is it the whole chapter?
Full chapter.
Because I missed the other chapter, but it's
Okay,
online.
and then if you have a question for chapter 4, what you do, take a screenshot of the question, email to me, I explain to you.
Okay, yeah, because I was confused.
Yeah, chapter 4 is not easy.
And the test next week, what's the time again?
Same time.
Yeah, okay.
So 12:30. 12:30.
All right, thank you.
See you later.
I need help with the guys.
Okay.
I don't want to email you like help tomorrow
Tomorrow.
or Thursday
That's fine too.
before or after the.
We can do Thursday before. This is Thursday. It's better after.
After.
Yeah.
Okay.
So stay a little bit after and go over the graph.
And I'll print out the.
Okay.
I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah. So now you do. So just print out whatever question you have and then go over the graph.
Okay.
Was it mostly chapter 2 or chapter 3 or chapter 4?
I can take the business for chapters 1 through 3.
Okay. All right. So chapter 4 is the problem. Okay. No problem. Okay.
I don't come in late
Uh-huh.
all the time.
That's fine. No problem.
Yeah, so if I come in late for the class, is that for the issue?
That's fine.
Okay, and you said 1 page of notes.
Yeah. 1 page, 1-sided handwritten
Okay. And we're running on a laptop or is it paper?
paper.
We don't have to write all this, right?
Just the last 4 number of the section number. So if you remember that.
I don't know one.
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I can do that for you. All right, let's see.
So Thursday after, right?
After, yes. All right, let's see who's here. We have Troy is here, Mauricio is here, Kush is here, Jane, Kush is here twice, Tiffany, Stan, Gabriella, Kate, Maria, Jacob, Alma, Samuel, Yasmin, Blake, John, Marie, Melania, Juan. Alex, the test will be next week, okay? Leslie, Jose, Jonathan, Danny, Dinah, Matthew, Kim, Gabrielle again, Michaela, Edgar, Lionel, and Martin. All right, so guys, make sure to sign into the live chat box. Okay, that's how I get you. All right, thank you so much. Are you coming this Thursday?
I have minutes. 1:36.
Yeah.
Time 1 to 2. We do have a discussion this week, right? That factory. That I forgot to reply. Plus, the minutes on the coffee, but it's in the swamp. Yeah. That's fine.
All right, see you later. All right, does anybody have any questions for me before I finish? Any questions, anybody? Let me wait for a second. It's a little slow.
One more question.
Yes.
You said it's ready over just the previous quizzes for next Tuesday.
Yeah. So the same with the quiz. Trying to understand your question. So on the test questions, to be very similar. But you cannot do the same process for all the process. So I'll do like go back to the second line, and then do the second out, and then change some more.
So price ceiling by making state is if it's a shortage, right? You know, it's not making state for the other one, price floor is surplus.
All right, guys, if no questions, let's end it here. So remember, your test will be next week. Now, right now, if you check on it, you won't see anything because it's not active yet. It will be visible in next week module. So starting from Monday of next week, you'll be able to take your test. So it'll be Monday until Sunday of next week, okay? So let me make sure I get everybody here and then we call it a day. Johnson, let's see. All right, guys, let's end it here and then have a nice week. So if you can come, I will see you on Thursday, 1 o'clock, the North Harris campus, the academic building, and then the room 126 from 1 to 2 o'clock. All right, guys, I will see you next week or Thursday. Bye-bye.